Was Missy's murder a murder for hire or a targeted attack? I don't think so, but everyone is entitled to their own opinion. With that being said, if you believe that this was a targeted attack or a murder for hire, I want to challenge you to put yourself in the shoes of this killer and ask yourself the following 11 questions. Number 1. What possible advantage do you gain by driving around the SWFA store prior to carrying out the targeted attack on Missy? Is it really an optimal move to drive around the SWFA building where there are numerous cameras, turning your car lights on and off again, braking the vehicle repeatedly, sticking your head out of the window trying to look inside the store, and then park in a parking spot for 3 minutes under a light post? Would you really try to attract this much attention and get your vehicle and face seen if you were planning on murdering someone a few hours later? Number 2. Would you dress like this? Would you wear a cumbersome helmet, tactical vest, floppy shoes, and gear that is distinctive? What advantage do you gain by wearing all of this gear? Why add things to your wardrobe that would make your job more difficult, while simultaneously not adding anything that would benefit you in carrying out the murder? Number 3. What advantage do you gain by carrying out the attack on Missy inside the church? Missy left her house on a rainy, dark morning, with no cameras or people around. Brandon and Missy had posted all over social media how Brandon would be out of town that week, which would open up opportunities for a hitman to carry out the hit at the house or nearby the house. Why not do a drive-by shooting when Missy was driving to the church that morning? At 4 a.m. on a Monday morning in rural Texas, there are little to no drivers around. In this image of the route from Missy's house to the church, you can see that there are several vacant areas along her route that morning that would have been perfect spots for a killer to pull up alongside Missy at a stop sign, unload their gun into her car, and then drive off completely undetected. Additionally, the parking lot will be empty, so why not just wait for her there? There are several bushes and dark corners around the church where the killer can ambush her as she enters, and there's a forest line not far away where someone could take a shot and quickly leave the scene in their car. Number 4. Would you show up before the targeted attack on Missy to bust out windows and pry open doors at the hit location, risking being seen and captured before you could even carry out the murder? Additionally, why go through all the trouble of breaking in, walking around inside the church, touching the walls, and risk leaving DNA or some other evidence at the crime scene? Number 5. Would you wander all over the church, exploring and going room to room if you were there to specifically kill someone? If you were there to target Missy, wouldn't you look for a location near the front of the church with a clear view of the front driveway and hunker down so you could see when she arrived and where she parked? And once Missy did arrive and park, wouldn't you move quickly to an ambush location within the church near where she was entering? Number 6. How do you know how Missy will behave that morning when she arrives? You can't control where Missy will park that day for sure, or how she will behave. So what if Missy drives around the back of the church, sees the windows that you just busted out and the doors you just pried open, and decides to call the police or church officials? What if she walks inside the church, sees the broken glass on the floor, the lights on, the doors you left open, and other damage to the property, and decides to exit and call the police? Number 7. Would you show up before the attack on Missy and walk around inside the building where you're about to carry out a murder that has multiple cameras? There are several signs posted around the outside of the church stating that there are surveillance cameras located inside the church. Wouldn't you try to avoid cameras as much as possible? In one shot, we actually see the killer stare straight into the camera. Someone who knows they're about to kill someone within the next 30 minutes probably isn't going to want any part of their face seen on camera. Number 8. Are these really the tools of a hitman? Would you bring a crowbar, hammer, a flashlight, a head-mounted light, a utility vest with various other tools that would weigh you down, decrease your mobility, and slow your escape? Especially considering the killer is already having issues getting around as is, why add more weight? What happens if you drop a tool at some point during the crime that may have your DNA or fingerprints on it or some other traceable markings? Are these really the optimal tools you're going to need to kill a person? Number 9. How do you know Missy will be alone when she arrives? If you are carrying out a hit on Missy, surely you know she is there to teach a class. Therefore, Isn't it likely her students might arrive around the same time as her? What if a student decided to hitch a ride with Missy that day? Are you willing to shoot multiple people just to get to Missy? Are you willing to carry out the hit in front of others who may escape the scene and contact police immediately or get your vehicle and license description and information? Number 10. If this is a murder for hire, how did the killer get paid to carry out the hit on Missy? And how are they able to hide in plain sight for so long, given the distinctive gait of the killer and the gear they wore? The police have done an exceptional job of investigating Missy's family, friends, and persons in her circle of acquaintances, as well as other people in Midlothian and the nearby area. Had this been a contracted killing or targeted attack by someone who knew Missy personally or lived in that area, I feel it's fairly certain they would have been captured by now. The financial records of the family were reviewed, and Brandon and Randy Bevers have been cleared of suspicion. So where is the money trail? Number 11. Brandon Bevers bought a gun for Missy a few months prior to her murder that she kept on her. In fact, it was located inside her vehicle the day of her murder. Had Brandon or Randy been planning on hiring a hitman, why would Brandon buy a gun for Missy in the months leading up to her murder? Wouldn't he want to keep her as weak and vulnerable as possible? Thank you so much for checking out this video on the Terri Missy Bevers case. If you enjoyed this content, please toss me a like and subscribe to my channel for future videos covering the Stephen Kosher case, as well as other cases from time to time.